Hi guys, welcome to this new video. In today's video we're gonna talk about made in Vietnam products. So you may know Vietnam is called the new tiger of Asia because many manufacturers are relocating from China to Vietnam, and there are actually good reasons why those manufacturers are moving from China to Vietnam, and more than that, because they get some good benefits, and this is the right time now also to source products from Vietnam compared to China. So in this video you have the full picture about why those manufacturers are moving their factory plant to Vietnam, and if you are also in this mindset of sourcing products from China and you are thinking about other options, that video may give you some good reasons why you should consider thinking as well about Vietnam. So before we get started, if you are into sourcing products from Asia and you are considering looking into Vietnam manufacturers, you can check below in the description. I will leave some link, some resources, and you can also drop us your questions about manufacturing in Vietnam. We have some good sourcing agents that can help you to understand the market here, which type of products are good to be done in Vietnam, as well as helping you to connect to reliable manufacturers and helping you for the QC as well as the shipping from Vietnam to overseas. So some of the reasons Vietnamese manufacturers are more and more attractive on the global scene. The first reason is because here in Vietnam you have a lower cost of labor. I mentioned it on the previous video that you can check this out about 5 of the top product categories that you can find in Vietnam. But here you can hire someone, a blue collar, in manufacturing areas for about $150 per month. If you want the equivalent in China, it's gonna be more expensive. So finally, it costs way lower for manufacturers here in Vietnam to employ people. So finally, the price of the goods will be lower. In addition of a lower cost of labor, Vietnam is actually having the youngest workforce known to possess a strong work ethic and commitment to quality. Their labor workers are capable to perform manufacturing tasks, including high-level technical assembly of automobile parts and new smart devices. The second reason why many Chinese manufacturers are relocating to Vietnam, it's also because of the stability of the economy. Here it's a one-party government, it's quite regulated. If you want to come here to do business, you have a lot of red tape, a lot of regulation, but it's still less time-consuming and more straightforward than what you can find in China. As an example, here in terms of business attractiveness for foreign entities, as a foreign owner, you can own 100% of a company. So it means that if you are considering relocating your factory from China to Vietnam, here you can own 100% of the share, and if you choose a manufacturing area to set up your company, you can even have some tax incentive on the VAT and tax incentive on the corporate income tax. So that's some of the good reasons why, on the business perspective, it starts to be very interesting to consider Vietnam instead of China. Now the third reason why it's also interesting to look into Vietnamese manufacturer instead of Chinese is because Vietnam signed a lot of free trade agreements to increase the economic power, the financial security, and benefiting its international partner along the way. These free trade agreements have contributed to Vietnam's economic development and allow the country to shift away from exporting low-tech manufacturing products and into more complex high-tech products including electronic, machinery, medical devices and vehicles. This means that international partners can take an advantage of high-skilled workforce for less expensive costs with a much lower tax on their export and much less regulation to get through. Vietnam is having a lot of free trade agreements with neighboring countries, but not only. Recently, we got in 2019 the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership that came into effect, and recently the EVFTA, that is a new generation of free trade agreement between Vietnam and Europe. The implementation of this agreement will make a breakthrough in import and exports between Vietnam and most of the European countries. Now, another reasons why manufacturers are starting to relocate their manufacturing plants to Vietnam is because here the R&D, so the research and development, is getting higher month after month. We got a news very recently that Boeing, so the leader in airplane in the world, will start to consider having their spare pieces made in Vietnam to build what they call a made in Vietnam airplane. So obviously not 100% of the plane will be made in Vietnam, but it still signals explaining that here even big companies are seeing that there is more and more good manufacturing workforce, good R&D, and with everything related to machinery, AI, everything is coming to Vietnam. So those big manufacturers are also considering Vietnam as a place to manufacture everything. Now, the fifth reasons why it can be interesting to consider buying Vietnamese products instead of Chinese products is because here in Vietnam you have a very good logistic hub. We see over the last 3 years that as soon as there is some disturbance in the supply chain, and because of the global pandemic, the supply from China is immediately impacted. By having a backup plan in Vietnam, it can be having a second entity or having here in Vietnam what they call a logistic hub or a packaging hub that can get your product from China, repackaged or putting some assembly line and finally ship from Vietnam. You can get the tax advantages thanks to the different manufacturing areas as well as free trade zone areas. And at the same time, you benefit from a different supply chain with all the ports that are here in Vietnam. You have some of those ports in southern Vietnam, but as well as in the north. So depending when you will have consider to put your manufacturing plants or sourcing your product from manufacturing areas, you can have a different logistic and infrastructure that can ship your item from Vietnam to overseas. I hope you guys enjoy this video. It gives you a big picture about why it can be interesting to look into Vietnamese made products instead of Chinese made products. There will be more and more opportunities into sourcing here in Vietnam compared to China. So if you are considering such a project, you can check below in the description. You can learn more about that. I will leave you some link and some useful resources so you can understand a little bit more if that can be suitable with your current business of sourcing in Vietnam or into manufacturing. If you have any question, any topics you want to get your thoughts about, leave us a comment below in the comment section. That place is dedicated for that. We're gonna try to go through all your different comments and answer them. Right now, I'm gonna go to this fair. You see, this is a furniture fair here in Ho Chi Minh City, actually one of the leading manufacturing fair about furniture industry. So a lot of indoor, outdoor products. So if you guys are considering sourcing products in Vietnam, you should definitely go check out those kind of fairs that are happening every 2 to 3 months in Vietnam. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and I see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I'ma get it right, then I'll sight like